Woohoo.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to Hands of Love Messages and Healing. Wow, we have such an amazing night here for you tonight. We've got such an incredible topic of conversation. So if you are jumping in, come and say hello. Let us know that you're here so that we can actually have a great chat here tonight. So if you are jumping in, say your name so that we can actually see you and actually acknowledge who you are as well, because sometimes we don't actually see your name. Thank you to StreamYard's lovely technology. So tonight we have the amazing Matthew Greenwood here with us tonight. Matthew, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for accepting my invitation to being, my guest here tonight on Hands of Love on
Thanks,
this
Paula.
amazing, incredible night, which is actually Hands of Love's birthday. So happy birthday, Hands of Love, and thank you everybody for being with us for 52 weeks. I cannot believe that 52 weeks has gone like that, Matthew. I'm just
Well
like,
done.
where has that time gone? But then I kind of look at it, I'm like, where's this year gone?
Exactly. It's just going faster and faster.
Oh my goodness. It's just like I have Wednesdays off. Wednesdays are a me day. And I had had my day planned and what have you. And unfortunately it didn't go the way that it was meant to go. And so I ended up staying home all day. And by 2:30 in the afternoon, I'm like, didn't I just get up? Like, isn't it 8 o'clock still? And I looked at I was like, no, it can't be 2:30 in the afternoon. What? Like, where's my day? Come back,
There's actually
Daddy.
there's actually something in there we can talk about it if we've got time tonight,
Yeah,
around time speeding up. So
oh my goodness. And and I really would love to actually have that conversation, Matthew, because I have got a granddaughter coming in less than probably 4 weeks time, and I literally felt like it was yesterday that they told me they were pregnant. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a grandma again. Holy crap. It's just freaking me out.
you can do it.
That's right, exactly. All right, I'm just going to turn this volume down.
All right.
So just acknowledging, hi, Natasha, hi, Mel, hi, Francine, hi, Caleb. Thank you for happy birthdays. Hi, Joe, how are you going tonight? So as you jump in, say hello, let us know who's here tonight. Matthew, we have a bit of a joke. Alex and I have a bit of a joke on this page because we actually have the amazing people that do comment and what have you. Hi, Talita. We have beautiful people that comment all the time. We know who they are, but then we have people that we know are watching. So we call them the lurkers, and we always acknowledge our lurkers and say, hi, lurkers, and thank you so much for joining us because we know that you're there. So we just appreciate you just as much as what the people are that are having that conversation. So as people are jumping in, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
That word's going to stick.
Matthew and I have the most amazing topic of conversation for you guys tonight, the importance of connection and connection to Earth. So I just want to introduce Matthew. Matthew and I met around about 5 years ago. I went to a workshop. Thanks, Sue. Thanks, Vicky. I went to a workshop at Amatola, and Matthew was doing a presentation there, and I don't even remember what the actual workshop was, Matthew.
I can't either.
But anyway, I knew that I had to go to this workshop that Matthew was running because I knew that I had to meet Matthew. And I'd been watching Matthew on Facebook for quite a while. So yes, I was your lurker for quite a while, Matthew, before I actually got to meet you in person. I have had several sessions with Matthew as well, in different healing capacities, and also some coaching around energetic and business, and clearing my energetic field, and some understanding around that as well. And I also buy Prairie Sage from Matthew, which I just can't get enough of. I just bloody love it. And so always when Matthew gets that in stock, it's like, yes, I want that. So anyway, Matthew, once again, thank you so much for being a guest speaker on the Hands of Love Messages and Healing tonight.
My pleasure.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are and what
Sure.
you do.
Big question. Okay, so Greenwood's my name. I've been doing spiritual work for, it's coming up to 34 years now. I've been lucky enough to have gone a few different directions in the early days, from massage to Reiki to I was doing neuromuscular kinesiology at one point, and then shamanism found me, or I found shamanism, one of the two. But I also ended up spending time on Rosebud Indian Reservation through a series of synchronicities that got me over there, and this has been, I guess you could say, the foundations of really understanding what it is to be grounded and how to be grounded. I've certainly had techniques of my own previous to that, but that's been a big part. So as far as the work I do these days, I do a lot of drum making courses. That's sort of a side issue, but it's become quite busy. As it's a part of shamanism, because the drums are very much medicine drums. We do ceremony through the day when we're making them. But essentially what I mainly do is, besides workshops teaching shamanism, in essence, I do help people that have emotional, energetic blockages that are causing distress within them, or it's sometimes the energy or emotions are suppressed and memories can be suppressed. So I help people to unlock that, to let go of other people's emotions that they're carrying, which can very incredibly impact their life from childhood. That's generally where it starts, and then they're free of it. Once they've cleared that out of their system, they're no longer anchored into a wound in regards to a child, and which that what that looks like is part of the energy becomes fractured when there's the classification of an inner child. It means there's a separation, an energetic separation, or a fracture in the energy, and there's, in that wound, that's what's creating the separation, but it's also what's creating reactivity these days. So this is the stuff I help people to let go of. The other aspect to it, which I don't do as much these days, funnily enough, people just dive into the clearing, wanting to clear their energy. But I also do readings. For me, readings are me connecting with people's guides, because I see them and hear them pretty clearly. And so I guess I'm a bit of a go-between. I pass on messages, but these days, more than ever, I'm actually helping people in that process to connect with their guides themselves. That's been a big part of this. So I like to see people empowered rather than having to need to come to me all the time to talk to their guides. But I also see energy and feel energy, the auric field and the chakra system, and I can feel and see where blockages are, and all of that sort of thing sort of shows up, and it makes it a lot easier to help clear old energy out of people, which then just sets them free, and they're much lighter, and they can really find themselves, which is a big part of this. When they're carrying a lot of other people's energy, this is where the typical comment is, I feel lost, I feel disconnected, feel reactive, emotions are always coming up to the surface. This is when that sort of thing's going on, it means you've got some reactivity going on back to a wound that's generally from childhood. So
yeah, thank you so much, Matthew. And one of the things that, as you're talking, I actually remember one of the sessions I think it was about 2 years ago that I came and saw you, and I was like in a world of psychic attack. And you know, and I knew that it was there, but I couldn't see it, and I wasn't able to remove it because it was, you know, pushed in and anchored in by this person so deeply. And when I came to you, I was in that world of, I know something's there. I know that I want to get rid of it, but I can't do it on my own. And this is something that I think that is part of our topic tonight, the importance of connection, because sometimes as healers, we can feel and know something's not right, but we're not the ones that can actually access that, especially in that actual psychic attack, because sometimes the psychic attack is, you know, it's so deep. And I remember the session that we had, and I was in a world of pain in a lot of my body. And I remember going through, taking me through a process, and I could actually see this like sticky octopus, but there was like, the octopus was in a box, and then it was just, there was so many layers to it. And I just remember how much freer I had felt once we had actually gone through that. And, you know, as I said, like I knew something was there, but I couldn't access it. And it wasn't until you were able to take me through a process that I was able to like actually see what it was, and then, you know, have your help to then like be able to pull it out, and the layers of it, because it was just so multi-layered from what, you know, that psychic attack was. And, you know, the multi-levels of that psychic attack as well. And I feel that, you know, it's just so important to be able to have someone that you trust. And, you know, something that I was talking to Matthew about before we started was that connection, you know, between like the masculine and the feminine. And we were both saying how, like, it's really interesting that even though we treat some males, we treat mainly women. Matthew, what do you think that that's about? Like, thinking about our topic tonight and the importance of connection. So we'll break that up first, the importance of connection first, and then we'll go into connection to earth. And I just want to say to everybody, stay around, because Matthew is actually going to take everyone through an absolutely amazing process tonight. And this is actually the process that made me make up my mind when I met Matthew for the first time that I really wanted to go and have a healing with him. So this process that Matthew's going to be taking you all through tonight is what he took me through 5 years ago. And I still to this day do this exercise so often. And I actually take my clients through this process.
Great.
Especially clients that are feeling really stuck and what have you. So please stay around, everybody, because Matthew has got a special treat for you all tonight, a special process. So stay around for that. So Matthew, just talking about the importance of connection, getting into our topic of conversation tonight, what do you think that, you know, that importance of connection between the male and the male and the female?
Yep. So why I think why I see less men than I see women, and I think this would be the case for the majority of practitioners out there that are doing anything on a spiritual level. And yes, there are more men getting involved in spirituality, but there's, if we take it back to last century, men coming up, well, people in general coming up through that century were dealing with a lot of really heavy energy. There were basically wars right throughout, worldwide conflicts throughout that whole century. And so the attitude to life back then, particularly for most men, was you just had to do. No time for talking about feelings and emotions. You just do. You just got to get through it, just suck it in, princess, and just get on with things. Now, what we're still dealing with with that, what we're still dealing with is that for the days we're in at the moment, because as generations go on from that age group back then, the fathers and the sons growing up, they were very locked in energy-wise, socially, energetically, emotionally. It was very much a very hardened way of being, and a lot of men are still breaking out of that. Now, I was there as well when I first started 34 years ago, but I knew there was something in me that was driving me. That's another story, but I knew I had to change because I was a completely different person back then when I first started. I was very disconnected. I've shut down emotionally. I didn't communicate well back then, and I knew if I was going to take this work on, I had to change the way I was living. And this is spirituality. If you really want to fully engage with it, you have to see it more than just, I'm doing my spiritual thing today at work, and then I come home and just do whatever you would have normally done. This is a way of life. It has to be a way of life, which then changes the whole dynamics of your connection to spirituality. It's like the analogy I like to use, it's probably more dramatic, is if you're going to go and learn scuba diving, you've got to go through that learning process of understanding how to use the scuba diving gear underwater, the fact that the oxygen's going to run out at some point, but the whole dynamics of working in a completely different reality. Spirituality is no different. You're in a completely different reality, and you need to learn how to hold your energy, hold yourself in that space. So many, and it's only because I've worked with a lot of people that in those beginning years, they don't know. And I think it's back then the education wasn't there on how to maintain your energy. That in all of the courses I've heard of, and I'm hoping it's changing these days, but in a lot of the courses that were back, if we're talking 10, 20, 30 years ago, there was nothing about how to maintain your energy. All it was more information, more techniques, one on top of the other on top of the other. But what happened, you can't engage with that if you're not clearing the cache, so to speak, as you do on a computer. You've got to get rid of the stuff that's not needed, and put in good, solid information that is there as your foundation. And this is what grounding is so important for, because if you're not grounded, number one, if people aren't grounded and they're getting into spirituality, they're going to get very frustrated, because back in the old days when I first started, the concept of spirituality, if you want to evolve spiritually, is to work from the heart chakra up. Forget about the lower chakras. That's got nothing to do with opening up spiritually. Well, I won't say what I'd like to say, but that's
no, you
wrong.
can say it's okay. We're honest on this show.
Okay. All right. So it's crap. And I can only say that because I see energy, and I see when people aren't grounded, I look at the way they're living, and the two aren't working together. And so what we need to do is come from a grounded point of connection. Look, basics, we have an energy system. Our energy system extends right down to the core of the earth. The earth has an energy system. Her energy extends right down to the core of the earth. Our soul chose to incarnate in this body on this planet. The whole idea of this whole mission that we're on is to be engaged with the earth's energy. Now, one thing, we talked about galactic stuff a little bit, and I won't go too deep into this, but most people are aware of base chakra energy.
Yep.
But there's something interesting that's been going on over the last 15 years. There's been a raising in frequency that's been going on. This raising in frequency is triggering a lot of things within people. You know, when you talk about DNA activation, it's triggering that. It's triggering spiritual growth. It's also triggering anything of a lower vibrational nature to fall apart or come to the surface. And so why humans, or why humanity has a lot of conflict in it, internal and external, is because, try to keep the story short, but several million years ago, there was a lot of unrest in certain parts of the universe. And this is the way it was told to me by galactic beings that I've worked with over the last 18 years. And so what happened, the leaders of these societies, these cultures, these different species, were trying to get together to stop the fighting. There was infighting, but also interplanetary fighting, and nothing seemed to work. And so an experiment was put together by a group of higher beings that were overseeing all of this. And they said, take a number, and we're talking a few hundred of each species, put them all on a mutually inhabitable planet, remove their memory of what their life was, but that will leave them with instinct, and basically put them on this planet, and like a whole bunch of kids, just let them work it out. But over all of those millions of years that had been going on, to observe, let generation after generation after generation of representatives from these different cultures continue to observe them, to see how that growth manifests. So what happened back then, these beings come in from a higher vibrational planet. Their energy is running at a higher frequency. They come to good old Earth, which is at a lower frequency. So their systems, their energy systems, then lower, because as they stay here longer, generation after generation, they hold their energy here at that level. And then so as time went on, there was already a humanoid species here, and we're talking early caveman. And so what occurred, we end up becoming, we're a product of this cooking pot of DNA. Now, just to finish off the galactic side of this, this raising in frequency that occurred 15 years ago, that's what's triggering, because the reverse is happening of what happened back then. So we carry all this galactic DNA. Now what's happening, it's been dormant all this time. We've been carrying it. The scientists call it rubbish DNA, or I can't, there's another word they use. But that doesn't wash with me, and never did. And then galactic beings that I've been working with certainly had a lot of input around that one. And it's just been dormant for all this time. Now frequency is rising. It's actually triggering that DNA to wake up inside us. Now this is a 2-hour talk. To take that further.
Which can be another conversation, maybe on on Centre Academy of Healing page, maybe Matthew. We can go deep into the galactic stuff, because you know how much I love that.
So just coming back to so that's what's going on that DNA level. But energetically, we still carry that internal and external conflict. It's in our energy system. It's been in our DNA. But what's happening now is, and this is a really interesting thing, a lot of people, I started seeing what I classify as our earth chakra, which is right down at the core of the earth. And we have a string of chakras that go right down to that chakra. And they're representative of many different things: generational line, soul, soul energy connections to the different journeys we've been on. But the bottom line is that original human, the pure human DNA that was, and that the being that relates to is clean of conflict, or clean of long-term conflict.
Yep.
So we're carrying that, and we're carrying this conflict which really stems from galactic beings.
Yep.
But that earth chakra, that deeper chakra that we can connect with now, that relates to that primal beginning of clean energy.
Nice.
And that's why that one's so important now to be connecting with. Base chakra isn't enough with the amount of things we're getting hit with. So, like I said, 15 years ago, there's this raising in frequency that's going on. We have another 80 years of that cycle to run.
Wow.
So we can run, but we can't hide. This is going to continue, and that's continuing to open up galactic DNA within us. It's also going to be dropping anything of a manipulative and controlling nature that's been going on the planet. That's going to that's falling apart. It's already started to. It's going to continue to. And lost track of where I was going now. So this whole importance of the growth that we're going. Oh, that's right. So the things we're getting hit with. So it's not only us that are getting affected by this raising in frequency. This is happening in the universe, or our sector of the universe. Every planet, which is a being within itself, it has its own energy system. The Earth is getting triggered by this high frequency. The sun, in particular, is getting triggered by this high frequency. It's what's causing all of these solar storms and solar activity. So all of this is having a huge effect. Plus, and we'll get into the interesting stuff a little here. So the manipulation that's being thrown at us, either through 5G telephones, smart TVs. I could go a lot deeper with this. There's HARP technology. HARP technology is a technology that's used to direct different frequencies at us. It was also used to change weather patterns as well. There's a whole long story with this one, which again I'd love to get into. Probably
definitely
not tonight.
A conversation I think we'll do on the Central Academy of Healing, because I really have got so much that I would like to delve into and share with people.
Definitely.
Matthew. So definitely, if people would like to know more about this sort of stuff, type in yes, because I think this is something that I keep calling you Alex, sorry, that Matthew and I will definitely go deep into, but not on the Hands of Love page. As well, we'll go into it at the Heart Center Academy of Healing page, at another time.
Sure.
But like I was saying to Matthew earlier today, like when we were connecting in before the show started, that today, like I didn't sleep last night, which isn't unnormal for me. But like last night, I had a real wired sleep. But I woke up this morning again and I was shaking. And this is probably the third or fourth time in the last like 2 weeks that I've actually woken up feeling really agitated, but I'm literally my hands just won't stop shaking. And I had, this amazing day booked and stuff like that. And actually nothing landed up happening, and I landed up staying at home. And I just said to my body, I'm like, okay, okay, body, what was this about? Like, because I was meant to go and have a womb healing today. And they just said to me, no, not the day to do this. You need to just stay at home. Like, just don't do anything. And, I'm like, okay, well, I'll get on the computer and I'll do this study. And they're like, nope, shut it all down. And I'll end up just watching Netflix and what have you for the whole afternoon, because that's what my body required. And, this is, what I want to go into tonight, Matthew, and that is
Sure.
the importance of the connection to our bodies. Because, and everyone that has been on this show for 52 weeks would know how much I harp on about the connection to our body. Because
Cool.
I just, sort of, and I do think I say it on most shows, because I think that it's not recognized. I don't think that, we actually recognize that connection to the universe, our body, and Mother Earth, that we are that one channel. And it's really interesting, Matthew, like when you were talking about, healings and all that sort of stuff. When I did my Reiki attunement, in my first attunement in 2012, going through to 2013, my teacher did not once talk about the connection to Mother Earth.
Yep.
Not once.
It was very common.
I did Reiki 1, 2, and 3 within the year and a half, and we didn't do any connection to Mother Earth at all. We didn't do any grounding work, and what have you. And so it was like, oh my God. And then I was actually teaching somebody Reiki. I was teaching a male Reiki 1 and 2, and I was about to go into Reiki Masters. And one of his mates was actually doing Reiki 1 and 2 with another practitioner. And he went home and shared with his mate what we had done, and we connect to Mother Earth, we connect to in my attunements and my training. That's actually something we do in every attunement. It's just really, really important. And I actually attune people right through their feet. And anyway, I had a phone call from his mate. And he said to me, hey, can I talk to you about Reiki, like the Reiki attunements? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And he goes, well, I was speaking to my mate that you attuned, and you did this, this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. And I said, it's really important. Connection to universe, connection to body, connection to earth. And he goes, well, I've just done Reiki 2. And my teacher told me that we weren't allowed to go below the waist. So he was actually taught Reiki 1 and 2 by this practitioner here in Adelaide, Reiki, and they were not allowed to actually touch the person to go to their feet, their knees, their knee chakras, their feet chakras. You stop at the sacral chakra, is what she said. And I'm like, no, no. And I got really frustrated, Matthew, and I'm just like, who is this person? And I was like, I got really, really defensive and really passionate. And then he came and did Reiki Masters with me and realized how ungrounded he was just by those attunements.
Yep. And see, if the teacher's ungrounded, if the teacher has no connection to grounding, then that's going to project through to the teachings within the course.
Yes.
And those people are going to go off, not just the fact that they're not getting taught about grounding, they're actually going to be quite disconnected as they go out into the big wide world, attempting to utilize that energy. So so let's do a quick look at the chakra system, and this will help to explain why it's so important to be connecting with the lower chakras. So number one, like I was saying before, we need to be connecting with the Earth's energy system if we're going to be fully grounded. Now, a lot of people in the past that have talked or argued this fact about you shouldn't be doing grounding, you should be looking at these other upper chakras. There's a definite issue there, because it's the whole chakra system that is who we are. Like you were saying, the physical body is very important. There was a huge disconnection with the physical body in the early days, with a lot of spiritual teachings. There's something most people never read the fine print when they come into a body. And part of the fine print, if you want to grow spiritually, is you have to acknowledge, well, it's kind of 5 things now, 5 levels of our energy system: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and these days galactic as well,
Yeah.
because where a lot of people are already stepping into galactic consciousness.
Yep.
But leave that aside just for a sec. Um, so we've got to view the base chakra, and really, it's really viewing the earth chakra now. This one that's right down at the core of the earth.
Mm.
If you think about a skyscraper, for example, for that skyscraper to be stable and to be able to withstand storms and strong winds, even earth movement, it has to have a strong foundation. Now, for us, the foundation used to be just the base chakra, but now it's that earth chakra.
Mm.
When the base chakra is strong, what you have is a flow of energy going from source down through us to the core of the earth. Now,
Mm.
when we are no different to a house electrical system or a car electrical system, both
Mm-hmm.
of those electrical systems need to be earthed or grounded. And
Mm.
so we are no different. We have an electrical system within us.
Yeah.
And so for us, that there needs to be that flow of energy. If we just forget about the base chakra, we're then very open to other people's energy. And this is
Yeah.
the problems that empaths have when they're not
Mm-hmm.
grounding. They go out into a shopping center, their base chakra's not connected to the earth, and
Yeah.
so they're wide open for manipulation, whether it be
Mm.
conscious or unconscious.
Yeah.
They're wide open to be taking on other people's energy, and then within half an hour of being in a shopping center, they're going, "Oh, I've got to get out of here." I've
Yeah.
been there. I understand it.
Yeah.
So our lower chakras are there to hold us strong and to
Yeah.
keep this flow of energy moving down through us.
Mm.
Then we're running on all cylinders, because when we're doing healing work, it's not just coming from source, it's coming from the earth as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so what the base chakra does, if we want to just keep it simple and look at the base chakra,
Mm.
um, what the base chakra does in those lower chakras, it stabilizes the upper chakras. Without that stabilization, these chakras are all over the place.
Yeah.
And you don't get stability, you don't get consistency spiritually.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's very unstable, and people get very frustrated trying to grow spiritually. So
Yeah.
these lower chakras are an integral part of opening up spiritually. And
Yeah.
I, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing, working with entities and dealing with people's negative energy that they're carrying or manipulation. I can't do that without being grounded,
That's right.
because I haven't got that flow of energy.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing is, which relates to having a strong base chakra, it
Mm.
is so important to not avoid our emotional baggage,
Yeah.
because emotional baggage is the one thing. So, what I mean by that is if people get reactive all the time, that's emotional baggage. There's something there that needs to be looked at.
The trigger. Yeah.
Exactly. So, that trigger is affecting the strength of the base chakra.
Mm.
So, if that base chakra is trying to be open, the thing that's suppressing it or holding it back is this load of either our energy that needs to be dealt with or other people's energy that we're carrying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Once we clear that, it's a much easier, we have a much easier ability to hold ourselves stronger.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
but those lower chakras are so necessary for us to, number one, yes, connect with the physical body. Um,
Yeah.
and what I've been finding too for people like my clients is more and more our physical bodies now. See, the physical body is the densest part of us, and
Yeah.
so that's taken quite a while to upgrade, I guess, and to
Yeah.
be more online like the rest
Yeah.
of the energy system is.
And
But
that's why
these
it hurts
days,
so much.
yeah, yeah. But that's why our bodies are kind of telling us what we need to be doing now. I've
Yeah.
been working with so many people. It's happened to me too, where
Mm.
a few months ago, I stopped drinking coffee. I have it a little bit occasionally, but very
Mhm.
little.
Mhm.
My body wanted that. My body said more vegetables, more vegetarian food. I'm a blood type O. There's a story to all the different blood types. They
Yeah.
have different dietary needs, but I still have meat. But I find I only eat it probably very little, probably I don't know, a fifth of the time I'm eating, there'll be meat in it.
Yeah.
So, so my body, I'm listening to my body, and it's telling me
Yeah.
what it needs, and
Yeah.
I'm doing my best to work with that, because
Yeah. And
this
this is
is
what
what's important. We need to be listening
this.
to our whole energy system.
Yeah, and this is, sort of what I do say to people, like, all the time, Matthew, sort of listen to your body,
Mm,
listen to what it's saying to you. Like this last couple of weeks, well, probably about a week ago, I sort of realized that there was something that just didn't feel right. And so
mm,
I always talk to my body every day and ask it, what it requires, sort of I even ask my body what it wants to wear now. Like it will literally tell me what to wear every day. Like, and I just love speaking to my body. I love speaking to, that part of me that sort of like knows what's best for me. And I've been taking a natural, like a natural supplement for my menopause. It's called Dong Quai, and I've been going really, really well with it. And the other day, like I started to feel really sluggish. I started to feel like a bit I just didn't feel right. So when that happens, I ask my body what it needs. And I asked to go and have Biocom, which I
mm.
absolutely love. And I went to have Biocom this week, and sort of again, my liver is just really not happy. So I sort of went, okay, body, what's making my liver not happy? And it said the Dong Quai. Like I've had, like my body's now sort of like I've been on it for 3 months, and it wants me to have a break from it.
Mm. Yep.
And so, like, but I would have, if I didn't listen to my body and if I didn't talk to my body, I would have
Mm,
just kept on having the Dong Quai, and I would have just kept feeling ick. So,
mm.
it's
Yep.
like, it's really, really important to be communicating
Yes.
and that connection to our bodies,
Mm,
because when we do, we have that deep connection to the earth. We have the deep connection to, the universe, our guides, whoever they may be.
mm.
And the more that we're connected to ourselves, the more that we're actually connected to our guides as well. And
Yes.
one of the things I said to you the other, like, when I came and got my prairie sage,
Yeah.
I said to you the other day, like, what was really interesting, and this is something that I've found quite often, when I start to be more connected to the upper chakras, my guides just go blip and they go silent on me. And then I'm
Mm,
just like, why aren't you talking to me? And it's simple. I forgot to listen to me. So
mm.
I, like we can become so reliant on them and
Yes.
then forget about ourselves. And, I keep on then getting reminded, hey, remember, you're here as physical body.
Yeah.
Um, come back to earth, like, because and this is something that I shared with everybody the other day, and I would love to know your intake on this, Matthew. I think not sure whether I've shared this with you before, but when I did my astrological chart, I don't have earth in it at
Mm,
all. Like I have zero earth in my chart, not even a 0.001%. I have none. And, I have a lot of trouble grounding. I like have a lot of
yeah.
trouble being in my body. What would be like for somebody like me that doesn't have earth in their chart? What would that represent? Like, because I know that like other people will probably be the same. So, like I do leave my body quite a bit, and have to remind myself to come back down.
Yep.
And especially when I'm stressed and what have you, like, you know, sort of I do unconsciously, of course, in my sleep, or, you know, I can actually feel, I know when I'm going,
Yep.
because I can feel it.
Yep.
So what would be your take on someone that, you know, that has a lot of trouble being grounded because, you know, they don't have Earth in their actual birth
Yeah.
chart, their astrological? What would that represent for you in that connection?
Sure. I'm pretty lucky. I'm the other direction. I'm very, very grounded. I'm
You are.
Taurian, and I'm just bang rock solid. But I'm very out there too,
Yes, you
because
are. Yeah, yeah.
I've got a really good connection with galactic energy.
Yes.
Um, but for people that aren't naturally grounded,
Mm,
um, this is where you have to fine tune things. So still really, really important to be doing some sort of grounding exercise on a regular basis. And it
yeah.
doesn't need to, a lot of people think, oh my God, another thing I've got to do. This literally can be as quick as 3 breaths. I'm
Mm,
serious, to
yeah.
do this grounding exercise.
Yeah.
So
And
you need to
I do your breath all the time to actually
yeah,
get back into my body and ground.
yeah. And so this is very important. But then you've got to look at things like your foods that you're eating
Mm,
and fine tune that. And sometimes, yep, talking to your body is really good. I teach how to talk to your body or to different parts of the body,
mm,
different aspects of your energy system. I teach people how to do that in the shamanism
yeah,
courses.
yeah.
And that's really important, to be able to do that. But there's times when sometimes it's difficult for you because you may be more ungrounded, and just
Yeah.
because where you're at. So there are always times when you need to get outside help, and
Mm,
it's just finding the right people.
yeah.
So so then looking at the energy system, you've got to look at, okay, well, what's keeping me ungrounded? And this is the
Hmm.
big thing. Sometimes if we're very giving people, we can overgive.
Yeah.
And that can relate to a reactive inner child that's still
Hmm.
looking for love and still
Yeah.
reaching out to help people in an overt way,
Hmm.
um, to receive love when they're not going to get it that way, but that's
Yeah.
what the inner child is looking for.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's dealing with that emotional stuff.
Yeah.
But the other thing is what can happen when you're not grounded. The heart generally shuts down to a great degree when the base chakra shuts down, and then what ends up happening, the head is running the show. If the base chakra drops out and the heart drops out, then
Mm,
the ego is the only thing running the show, and this is where the head just spins around and around,
hmm.
and
Hmm.
there's no heart connection to what you're doing,
Yeah.
and it's very difficult to get out of that.
Yeah.
Um, when you're in it, and
Mm,
so again, it's fine tuning, looking at energetically what's actually triggering you. Um,
yeah.
so it's looking at the quite often it's stress, but there can be other things like you could be carrying an entity,
Yeah.
um, which could have been there since childhood.
Hmm.
Um, it could be anything. You could have the dynamics of someone you're working with. They could be throwing energy at you and you're not aware of it.
Hmm.
And it's just because it's just the way they're thinking about you, because thoughts are energy. So if
Yeah.
they're throwing judgmental thoughts at you, that's affecting your energy. And
That's
it's
right.
how to deal with that. That's a really basic form of energy manipulation.
Mm,
Um, and so it's really looking at the whole package, um, not just the chakra system,
yeah.
about grounding, and not just the head, the mental aspect, but it's the emotional aspect, the
Mm,
spiritual aspect as well,
yeah.
and these days the galactic aspect too.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so it's really looking very holistically at the whole situation, because
Yeah.
no, we are all different.
Yeah.
Not all of us um, are really fully grounded, and I've
Yeah.
still got to work at it too. being grounded, I've got to make sure that I'm doing that too. I can't just sort of go, oh, I'm Taurian, I don't have to worry about that one, because it's not going to work. Because like I said before, there's so much that is out there that's triggering people. Even just good old human consciousness and the stuff that human consciousness is going through at the moment, that's triggering people, particularly people that are not grounded well. They're taking that stuff on, and that's having a huge effect on them. When you do take a lot of energy on from out there, you go into a bit, particularly if it's been going on for a while, you go into a process of shutdown, because it's like a protective mechanism that kicks in with the ego. You just shut down because you just can't cope anymore with it. And this is kind of like a fuse blowing in a house or a car. This is why that grounding has to be there.
That's right. So we've got a couple of questions here.
Beauty.
All right. So Sue's just got here. I would love to explore more about blood type and diet. So Francine's just recommended a book, Eat Right for Your Blood Type.
That's the one.
You can and it's really funny you said that, Matthew, and I've had this conversation here before. A lot of people just go, oh, you're spiritual, Paula, so you should be a vegetarian, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, do you know what, I actually have to listen to my body, and I'm a B positive and what have you, and I have to have some form of meat. I don't have a lot of it. And when I do have it, I give thanks and gratitude and, and stuff like that for what I'm eating. But my body type, actually, I can't have legumes. I can't have lentils. I can't have, so all of the vegetarian basically diet, my blood group goes, nope, not for you. Yes, blood type is very, very important. Jules has just
race is very important too, because
yes,
try to go over to Rosebud Indian Reservation and tell them they need to be vegetarians to be spiritual. Those people need meat. They've been brought up generation after generation eating deer, buffalo, but the difference is, and this is the big one, the energy of the animal.
Yes.
It hasn't been tortured in these places where like death camps where they're taken to be processed. They've been killed humanely and quickly.
Exactly.
And they've been respected with prayer and honor and gratitude through the death. So the energy is completely different. And that's the stuff that affects us strongly too, is the trauma that we eat. So it's being really specific about where you're getting your food from too.
Yeah. One of the things that I do in Reiki 1, Matthew, is actually teach people how to actually do Reiki on their food, so that we're actually we're actually clearing all of that energy from from the trauma, from people that the energy and stuff like that. So Reiki 1 is where I actually teach people straight up. How do you do Reiki on all of your consumables? Everything you eat, everything you drink, let's Reiki it. Let's, clear that toxins. Let's clear that energy. Let's give gratitude and thanks for what we're eating. And when I take the women on retreat, before we eat, we give thanks by doing 3 ohms for our food. So it's about actually acknowledging all aspects of that, which are just really important. Francine's just got said here, how do we do our earth chart? So you can download it, Francine. So if you just Google earth chart, but you actually need to have your exact time of birth. If you don't have your exact time of birth, it doesn't give you an accurate reading of where you where you are. So to actually get the 100% accuracy for your earth chart, you've got to actually know where you were born, what time you were born, so on and so forth, to get the absolute accuracy out of your earth chart. So if you've got that, just Google earth chart and you'll be able to download one, not a problem. There are practitioners that will actually go into like big detail with them, and all that sort of stuff. And that's also amazing too. So I did just a short 2.5 hour course with somebody at Amotola again, and that's when I found that I had no earth in my chart, and I'm like, well, that makes sense. It's why Paula really struggles to be grounded. Carla has just written here, Matthew, how do you find out what being you came from? So what Matthew meant was, so Matthew is Taurian, but it means, so Carla, Matthew is saying that that he is Taurus, so he's a Taurian star, like, you know, that's birth chart,
star sign.
Star sign. That's Matthew. Thank you. So, but Carla would like to know, how do you find out what being you came from? So one of the things that that I do now with my clients is actually take them through a process to actually find out where they came from galactically. And I know you do exactly the same, Matthew. So would you like to just go into a little bit of detail about that?
Yep. Okay, so there's two aspects to this. Number one is we're a mixed bag of many beings. So if you remember what I talked about earlier on, the fact that there were many different species placed here on the earth millions of years ago, and over time, generation after generation, they all intermingled on a physical level. We carry DNA from many different beings within us, many different species. But what happens when you come to, say you came to get a reading with me, quite often what I will see is a particular species of galactic being that's there. And generally when there's a particular species there, it means they're just hovering around you, just helping, sometimes just tweaking your energy a little bit, because the DNA that's actually activating within you at the moment, because, okay, so we've just really quickly, we've got, like I said, a mixed bag of galactic DNA within us.
Yep.
But each one of those galactic species ran at a different frequency originally. So their DNA ran at a specific vibration, frequency. So what's happening now is, as frequency hits a certain point, then a certain aspect of DNA is waking up within us. Not all of it, but a certain aspect which relates to that frequency. And when a person's there with me, and particularly if they come in with an intention, a specific need to connect with a galactic being, then generally there's a galactic being there, and the species of being that's there will relate to the DNA that's actually waking up at the moment. But on top of that, there can be more predominant DNA that's within your makeup that is active and can have been active for a long period of time, even prior to this raising in frequency that started 14, 15 years ago. This is where the story can sort of go different directions with this, but it's a bit of a rabbit warren of a conversation.
It is.
But
it's a huge rabbit warren.
But generally when they...
Sorry, Matthew, go.
I was just going to say, but generally when people come... Go on, you go.
Go, Matthew.
No, your turn.
It's like, it is really complex, you know, like when I think about like the galactics itself, like, you know, there's just so many planetary beings, you know, like the government, the world, whoever, like, you know, sort of, you know, just want us to like go, oh, there's these planets. Well, there's not. There's like thousands of planets, and they've all got beings. They've all got like cells. They've got like memory. There's just so much to our galactic world that is very complex. And something that, you know, sort of I absolutely love. I enjoy going down that rabbit warren. But it is also one that when you go down it and when you start to connect to those galactic beings, that, you know, you've got to also be at a frequency of allowance. And this is something that, you know, I've spoken about on the Heart Center Academy of Healing with Tamsin before. And so you can go back and watch that video as well, find it. But they are at such a different frequency to what we're used to. And when they do come through, we've got to actually be ready for that frequency, don't we, Matthew?
Yep. And again, comes back to grounding. Even with when we're communicating with galactic beings, we need to be really grounded. Because our body, our being exists on this planet. So we need to be integrated into the Earth's energy for all of our sensory abilities, including communication, to be open and functioning well.
Yes. Yep. So Carla's just written here, thank you. That makes sense now. I've met a few people now that have introduced themselves as galactic beings, and they have been different species, and it's fascinated me. All have been beautiful people and souls. One is a friend and works with angels. Beautiful. Awesome, Carla. Mel just said that you can actually find your time of birth in your baby book. So Francine, if you've got your baby book, or if mum has your baby book, the time of your birth will actually be in your baby book. That's how I found my time of birth, because I actually have my baby book, which is really cool. And Talita just said, I love listening to Matthew as I'm very connected to nature and the earth. This subject is amazing. Awesome, Talita. We love that you are here with us tonight and connecting with this conversation. So we've gone into, like, you know, lots and lots of different areas here, like, you know, the importance of the connection to ourself, the connection to, you know, like our guides, our connection to our DNA. One of the things that, like, as you were talking then, Matthew, that came to me, and that is that the generation of children that are coming through now and the connection and the frequency they're already at. And, you know, this is something that, again, I would, you know, it's a rabbit warren of conversation. So maybe, like, we'll again make another like video of this at another time. But I just would love to hear from, again, your experience, your knowledge, and your connection to all of this. What do you feel about this new generation, these babies that are coming through? Like, I mean, I've got like one that's 4, one that's just about to be born, you know, and stuff like that. And I definitely see so much difference in them compared to my boys, my older kids. So what do you think that is, that connection, that importance to the new generation that are coming through now?
So as frequency rises, remembering that this frequency that we're talking about, which is our environmental frequency of not just this planet, but of this part of the universe, is continuously rising. We've got another 80 years to go. And so as children are born, from conception right through, and we're talking, you know, the parents have grown up in a higher frequency, but then as the children are being born, they're in a high frequency again. So issue is probably the wrong word, but the situation that's occurring now is as kids get to an age where they start communicating with parents, they're coming across with a lot of information and knowledge, and they can. I've seen this happen. They can call their parents out on things because they see what's going on and they sense it really acutely.
Yeah.
Their sensory abilities are so much more heightened
Mm-hmm.
than their parents would have been, but it's
Yep.
just going to be a continuing process. So each generation that's coming through is just getting more and more in tune with the goal of where we're heading for, and at the end of this 80 years, what we step into is what they call the golden age of humanity. And this is where there is 1,000 years of peace and tranquility. And look, many cultures across the planet know this. I think it's even spoken about in the Bible. I don't, I haven't read the Bible, but I know it's in there somewhere. Um, and and so it's a gradual process as these generations heighten in frequency, which then means they're bringing in more galactic energy. They're
Mm-hmm.
bringing more pure information through. It's no longer, it's coming through so strong so quickly, and it's not tainted by so many heavy emotional um, energies.
Yep.
And so this is what's going to end up creating this new world
Yeah.
that we're all growing towards, is because uh, they're more in tune than we are. But we can still stay in tune with that by making sure that we're working our energy system better, and
Yeah.
we're really holding ourselves stronger.
Yeah.
And again, without going into it again, I feel like a broken record, but um, you know, the grounding. So this grounding exercise, I'll just throw this little bit in
Yeah.
as a tease. It's not just about grounding; it's actually about raising your frequency as well.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
this is really probably the more important. Well, it's just as important, really, these days.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but so
And
yeah,
it's
kids that are coming through now are so much more switched on. But
mm-hmm.
we have to be more patient as parents. This is a big
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we have to really be patient and acknowledge that they're more sensitive. Um, and we have to be careful about how we think, because a lot of the sensitive kids that are coming through, and I know a subject for you are kids on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Um, again, this is another big topic, but kids on
Mm-hmm.
the spectrum are just super, super, super sensitive. You think as an
Yeah.
empath you're sensitive, but or anyone out there is
We're
sensitive.
nothing compared to them.
Exactly, and it's
Yeah.
why kids that are really high on the spectrum don't engage visually, because
Yep.
they've learnt that by not looking at the person, they're not connecting energetically with the person, because
Mm-hmm.
those kids are picking up on every little bit of judgment, every little expectation that people have around them,
Mm-hmm.
the comments that are either going on in conversations over there where they don't think the child will hear them. They're feeling the energy of that. And so
Yeah.
you imagine if if they could feel all of that so acutely, what that
Mm-hmm.
must be doing to their sensory
Yeah.
abilities. It's just
Huge.
flooding them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but what we need to do is not treat them um, on broken eggshells. We
Mm-hmm.
actually we need to be directing them into areas that they're just going to be so in tune with, um, and and uh, and there's certain areas of learning that
Mm-hmm.
they're perfect for,
Yeah.
and then as they get more in tune and more comfortable, and there's less judgment around them, they actually their energy softens then, and they can open themselves up to just everyday stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's a rabbit warren. I'll stop
it
it
is
there.
it is like, you know, and I mean, you know how much I am very, very passionate about, you know, sort of these amazing beings, because, you know, like I am one of them. I, you know that I am, and, you know, the way that I can communicate and the results that I have with, you know, the kids that have, you know, been the official, you know, and even if they haven't, you know, had got the official diagnosis, it really doesn't matter. But the way that I can communicate with them, you know, it's just because I'm talking to them not by vocal word, but by energy. And I'm talking to them by frequency and telepathic language. And so the results that I have with these beautiful kids, you know, is just massive. And everyone's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, because I'm communicating with them not in the way that you think you should, you know, and everything like that. And it's, you know, for me, I just wish that we could teach the world this. I wish that we could teach, you know, my dream is to, like, you know, to be able to teach parents, to be able to teach schools and stuff like that, that the way you're doing it, you know, it's not that it's, look, I am going to say that it's wrong, because, but they don't know any different. You know, they don't know that there's a different way of doing it. But, you know, it was actually really funny. Like, as we're talking about this, I can actually remember this one boy that I worked with several years ago, and he had been expelled, Matthew, from every single school that he went to. Every school, and Mum was at her wit's end. She didn't know what else to do with him, so she brought him to me. And I, you know, I would have loved to have actually seen him on a more regular basis, but this young boy came to me, and he, within 5-10 minutes, he was telling me about, and like, again, actually, this would have been longer ago. This would have been longer. I reckon this would have been about 6 years ago. Maybe I'm going to say 6 years ago. About 6 years ago, I had this young boy. He was 8 years old, and as I said, he had been expelled from every school because he didn't want to be at school, because he knew that the school was bullshit. He knew that everything that, like, the school was bullshit. So he basically did everything possible not to be there, and he would tell the teachers how wrong they were. And so, of course, they didn't like that, so they expelled him. And he sat in my healing room, and he turned around and said to me, he goes, you know what I'm about to say? And I said, yep. And I said, you can see things that no one else can see. And he said, if only I could tell you. And I said, so tell me. And he literally sat there, like, we ended up being in my room for about 2.5, 3 hours, while this 8-year-old told me all about New Earth. And that he was the one that was able to actually create that in another life, and he was here to bring it back. And I just said I looked at Mum, and I'm like, your child is so special, is so incredibly special. I'm like, what your child can see and what your child will do in this life will be, no school will ever be able to match that. And she's like, yeah, but I've got to work. And I'm like, but your child's not meant to be in mainstream school. That's not where he's meant to be. And, you know, I don't think she really sort of, probably why she didn't come back, maybe because I was upfront and honest with her. And, you know, like, she was just listening to this child as if it was just like mumbo jumbo, but I just got it. And oh my God, the world that he, like, explained to me, I just said to him, I'm like, man, how amazing is this world going to be? And he goes, yep, and I'm going to create it, Paula. And I said, do you know what? And I believe you, mate. But he was just sitting there because nobody had ever listened to him. Because everybody was just like, this is just fake. Hey, Alex. you know, and it was just, yeah. And like I was working with one of my regulars. I've been working with this other young boy for last 3 years, and I was actually working with him last year. And as I was like doing some healing with him, I actually could see what he was going to create in the future when he was an adult. And I'm just like, oh my God, if I could draw, like how, like, I just wish that sometimes I could draw these things that I could see. And I just said to mum, I'm like, oh my goodness, like what this child, what your son is actually going to create, what he's going to build in the future. I'm just like, I'm blown away. Absolutely
Wonderful.
blown away. And you know, I actually had an 8-month-old baby in the academy this week, and before they came I was like jotting down because it was a reading, and then one of the messages in it was mum really needs to start her spiritual journey because her 2 children are like so gifted and what have you. Oh my God, this baby came in and it had the most brilliant blue eyes, and I just looked at this baby and I'm like, oh my God, like you are so special. And you know, and everything. And so I tried to explain to mum who she was and you know what she was here to be and to do, and she was just blown away. Like, and you know, it's really exciting. I'm really excited. Like, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
people are like, you know, I feel sorry for the next generation, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but the next generation are the ones that are going to be the shakers and the movers. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
they're the ones that are just going to take no bullshit. They're not going to take crap, and they're just going to do it. Like,
And it's
whereas
just
all
going
of
to
our
keep continuing.
generations, yeah, you know, all of our generations, we've been too scared to step into it until we've been like, you know, much older, and you know, and
Yeah.
what have you. Whereas this next generation, and like I look at my granddaughter, like, you know, she's 4.5, and she does her parents' head in, like they're always going, oh, and I'm like, she's here to be the change. Because she's just like a bull at a gate, and she's like, rah! She will tell them exactly how it is and when it is, and everyone else.
And something I was going to say before, one of the best things, and this is really good for kids that are incredibly sensitive and coming through at this time.
Mm.
Nature is one of the best things.
Oh,
So
huge.
taking them out into a forest, because the one
Mm-hmm.
thing with plants, so plants give us oxygen, but they
Yep.
also give us energy, life force, and they just reach out. That's part of their role, is to give all beings, not just oxygen, but energy and life force. So um, we need to be doing that too. So that's another part of learning to be more grounded, is
Yes.
just spending more time in nature. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, sort of it is something that I think, you know, that we're probably not doing enough, and I know that I'm guilty of that. You know, like I got up this morning and I was like, yep, I'm gonna like do this and this, and I'm gonna spend no time in nature, and I didn't land up doing it. But I also know that, you know, I was also listening to what my body was requiring of me as well. So you
yep.
know, maybe I can get out into the forest on Sunday or something like that. I love going out to the forest. So we've got Alex here. Hey Paula and Matthew, just a quick comment for blessings for the show. Thanks, Alex. I hope that you're
Thanks,
going
Alex.
well at the Melbourne show. And we've got some people just saying hello, Alex, there. We've just got somebody. So Jules has just said, this earth plane will be changed forever when all the beautiful people are back on the line. Autistics vax damaged.
Mm.
Yes,
There's a rabbit warren of conversation too.
that's a whole new, like, you know, conversation as well, like, you know, that we won't quite get into on this particular page.
No,
Again, maybe we'll go on to the Hands of Love, the Heart Center Academy of Healing for that conversation.
no, there's a lot
As well.
going on that level, because
huge.
I've seen aspects of the energy system that have been targeted. Yeah, we won't go into it, but
Yeah.
that the pineal gland has been heavily targeted through all of this. So
Yeah, absolutely, like massively. Hi, James and Abby. How are you both? Love to you both. Kylie just said hello. I'm here, but I'm late. That's all right, Kylie. I hope that you've had a good night with your chakra dance as well. I know that you were chakra dancing tonight. So hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us. So Matthew, let's really get into the next topic, which is just so important, something that we have covered a lot. And I know that you were saying you feel like a repeated record, but the connection to earth, Pachamama. Last week, Matthew, what we actually did for everybody was Samantha and I took everybody into their womb space, and then took them down into Mother Earth's womb space, and I put them into a cocoon. And then we drew up Mother Earth's energy into the womb space of like everybody. And we did a lot of healing and connection to the ancestors and all that sort of stuff. So the importance of grounding and the importance of that connection is like so important, as we've touched on tonight. Because if we truly want to be connected to ourselves, if we truly want to be connected to the beings above, then we really need to be connected to Mother Earth.
yes.
And one of the things that I say to everybody, and that is to give thanks every day to Pachamama. Give thanks to Mother Earth, because she provides us with everything. The animals are fed by Mother Earth. We live by Mother Earth, and it's so important. And one of the things that I do every single day as my morning routine, Matthew, is I get up and I put both feet on the floor at exactly the same time, and I say, "Good morning, Mother Earth." And I put my hands up and I say, "Good morning, universe." And I put my hands around myself and say, "Good morning, me." And it's my way of giving thanks. It's my way of being really grateful to Mother Earth, to universe, and to myself. Is there is there a ritual that you do to start your
Yes.
morning off, your connection, as
Yes.
well? So would you like to share that?
Well, look, it comes down to, this is one of the things that was really reinforced when I spent initially 5 months over on Rosebud Indian Reservation, was three things: prayer, acknowledgement, and gratitude. And a lot of people want to communicate with spirit and with galactic beings and guides and animals and insects and everything. The more we acknowledge and are grateful to all of these beings that are out there, we're literally opening up a line of communication to them by just that gratitude and acknowledgement. And so that's not just a one-way line of line of communication. It's a two-way line of communication. So that actually helps us to be more open in both directions. So that communication will be much stronger and clearer the more gratitude we give, because it takes us out of ego and brings us into a much bigger space, a much more humble and expansive space by doing that. And so I've got to think about it now. What I do, I do it automatically. So so look, I'll just say what I do. I'll just say a prayer. So number one, I'll do that grounding exercise, which we're going to do in a minute. But I'll give thanks to Tunkashala, which is the Lakota term for Great Spirit. I give thanks and gratitude. I give thanks for Great Spirit's love, connection, wisdom, and I give thanks to my guides and spirit helpers, to all beings of all dimensions that are here working with me for my highest good, the highest good of humanity and Mother Earth. I give thanks to the ancestors. Now, I'm really specific when I talk about the ancestors. So I give thanks to all of the ancestors of all nations who hold the sacred teachings, the wisdom, the courage, the strength, the determination, compassion, and patience, and that also hold the ceremonies and the rituals of the old ways that are still incredibly valid and important. And I give thanks to their presence in my life and to the teachings that they give me every day. And that's when I'll do a grounding exercise either before or after that. So I normally start with that, then I do grounding exercise. So
and it's
so
sort of, it's something that's just so important, I feel, to have, like, like a morning and an afternoon or an evening ritual. My ritual for going to sleep at night, as soon as I lay my head down on my pillow, I actually give gratitude and thanks for my day. Whatever's been in it, I give again, thanks universe, thanks guides, give gratitude and thanks to, like, my food and the people, my clients, so I go to sleep at night in gratitude and thanks, and I wake up in the morning with gratitude and thanks, to Mother Earth, to the universe, to myself, and then I, sort of go ahead and I start my day. When I get to the academy, that's when I sort of, like, just stand in prayer and just give gratitude and thanks for my day and for the academy space, and for my guides and for my clients that are about to come for the day, or just sending out healing out to the world, the cosmic greatness, basically, the universe. So I just want to put it out there to other people, the people that are actually here tonight. Does anyone have a routine that they actually have, a morning routine, an evening routine, that is, that connection to themselves, connection to universe, connection to, Mother Earth? Because I think that it's really important to actually share this knowledge. Like, one of the things you were saying there, Matthew, is that connection to the ancestors, like the ancestors that, have walked before us, the ancestors that are here now, and the ancestors that will walk after us, like, it's, just, and I suppose that's one thing that I forget to do. I actually, sort of, when I've done your grounding that we're going to go through in a minute, like, it was, that connection to the ancestors. And when I'm teaching Reiki, I actually connect them into, Mother Earth and their ancestors. But that's a good reminder for me, because it's something that I've actually forgot to do, because I'm like, ground, like, ground, connection to ground. But I've actually forgot to call in that ancestral aspect and give gratitude and thanks and the wisdom of that as well. So thank you for that reminder.
That's all right. And there's something that's quite interesting. A lot of the elders will consciously, even in the death process, will consciously anchor their energy here ongoing, so that, because they know this time is very important, and they know that it's necessary for their energy to still stay here and continue to teach. And so this is sacrifice that they do. They could just go, okay, I've had enough of this place. I'm off. But they've chosen to anchor their energy here and to continue to teach and guide people. So
Yeah, and it's something that, again, I've really forgotten to do. So while we're just waiting for some people to respond with their routines,
Yep.
Carla's just saying here, I went for a walk barefoot along the beach Monday morning, and it was and it's always so amazing. The water hits me and washes away everything, and it feels
Mm.
like home. We love walking in forests as well, and just getting our feet into the earth. Yeah, and like, again, it's so important that we do that. And one of the things that I say to all of my autistic families, and that is how important it is for them to be grounded,
Mm.
because they are already running at such a high galactic frequency, that they're not grounded. And so when I'm working with them, that's one of the things that I do straight away. Before I do anything else, it's like clear out their energetic field and then ground them back to their body.
Mm.
Because, they're just not here, which
Yep.
is, again, so many aspects as well. Francine's just got, I show gratitude and thanks 3 times a day, plus more in between if I see messages. Beautiful. So Toledo's just said, I've been eating my lunch on a patch of grass lately at lunch to ground. How beautiful is that, Toledo? Melanie, I ground and use my protection wash in the shower and ask my angels for protection for the day. That is, yeah, beautiful, Mel. Lovely. So it's like, I do think that it's like really good to have like a routine, especially for the importance of our topic here tonight, the importance of connection and connection to Mother Earth, as well. So is there anything else, Matthew, that you would like to add before we go into this beautiful grounding exercise for everybody tonight?
Sure. Well, look, what I might do is just give everyone a bit of a heads up if they haven't done this exercise with me before. I'll just give people a heads up on exactly what we're going to be connecting with, because it's not
Yeah.
just the base chakra.
Mm-hmm.
It's this earth chakra, which is right down at the core of the earth. Now, like I think I said before, we've got a string of chakras that our energy system is far bigger than most people understand it to be. Um, and we have these different chakras between the base and that earth chakra at the core of the earth, relate to many different things. But when we anchor our energy down to that earth chakra, we're going through all of them. We're not just missing all of them and just going down to the earth chakra. We're actually going through the whole lot.
Yeah.
Now, the next aspect to this, so it's breath work, base chakra, earth chakra, and then there's something called your core star energy. Now, what this is, core star energy is a bit of a technical term for something that's very simple. It's just God force or source energy. But when most people think about source energy or God force, they think of it outside of them. What we're doing is accessing that God force within, and we're going to expand that out through our whole energy system, and then just expand it out limitlessly. Now, the beauty of doing this, and this opens it up to another sort of little avenue of information, which is around the need for protection. We have to be very cautious about that word, because generally, if we feel like, and there's an intensity about needing protection, there's an emotion that's driving that. What do you reckon the emotion is?
Fear.
Exactly. So if you're doing anything with fear driving it, you're actually going to attract negative stuff to you.
Yeah.
So this is where you change your concepts around energy. And instead of trying to put an egg of energy around you, you start from the core within and radiate high frequency through the whole package, and you don't need to put an egg of white light around you or anything. And this you don't even have to use the term protection, because this just keeps your frequency higher and above anything of a low frequency nature, which is going to be there to manipulate you. So simple as that. So you don't have to worry about protection when you're running this God force, because there is no higher energy.
Exactly.
So that's what we're going to be connecting with, and I'll just talk you through it and as we go.
Yep. So what I just want to say to everybody is it's really important with the process that Matthew is about to take you through to go and actually put yourself somewhere where you're not going to be disturbed, because this will take a few minutes to to go through. What it's really important to do is just to listen to what Matthew will be saying as Matthew takes you into a relaxed state, and just be guided by Matthew's spoken language here, and we will be called, it is a really quite deep process, everybody. So it is really important that you do put yourself into a space that you're not going to be disturbed. So I just want to sort of let everyone know that if you can please go do that now, if you would like to join into this, and this will be available for replay. So if you can't do it now and you just want to listen to it and you want to be able to do this later, then you will be able to watch the replay later on and be able to do this at another time as well. So just letting you know that as well. So if you just want to listen to it for this time and then do it later in your own time, that's okay too. But if you would like to join in with this beautiful process that Matthew is about to take us through, as I said, I have done this many times and absolutely love this process. And so if you would like to join us, just say yes, that you would like to join us, so that we know how many people are joining. And when we come back, if you can say I'm back, because it's a big process, isn't it, Matthew? It is a big process. So if you can just let us know if you are joining us right now, please say yes that you're joining us, so that I know how many people are going into this process. When we come out, please type in I'm back, so that we also know that you've come back. Because I know when I sort of have done this, it's takes me a little bit of time to actually fully be back and what have you, because this is, everybody, expanding your energetic field right out there. So just be observant of your body, and I will say too, please make sure once you've actually done this exercise and when you've finished, and when we've finished the live tonight, please go and actually go drink a nice big glass of water as well. That is a highly recommended thing to do after this process, because this process will, the water after this process will also help this integration and help you to move into that. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to that, Matthew, before we go into this process tonight?
Only that this little exercise will take about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because this is me guiding you through, explaining as we go through it, and just I'm tuning into everyone's energy, and I'm kind of working with my guides here and everyone else's guides, and so I'm doing my best to keep it at a rate that everyone's keeping up to. But in the end, the more you can do this on a regular basis, and they say it takes about 3 weeks to fully engage with a new habit, you should be able to speed this process up over time. And like I said, this is going to be about 10 minutes, but once you've done it quite a few times, it should take only 3 deep breaths to be able to do it, because each breath there'll be an intention with each breath, but we'll talk about that after we've gone through the experience. And a good thing to do, particularly to start with. What I generally do is finish off with some grounding, which
Mhm.
is obviously needed to just bring people back, particularly if they're a client that I'm working with, and I
Yeah.
don't want them driving off really out there. I want them grounded as well.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, the beauty of this is you can be grounded and still be
Mhm.
out there. You know,
Yeah.
it's just that you're more connected to the earth, so you're more conscious and in the moment. Um,
Yes.
so you can have both at the same time.
Yeah.
There's no separate. Doesn't need to be separation between the two.
Yeah. Because when I do this exercise, I do feel really quite lightheaded.
Mm,
The like as I'm, like going through this process,
yep,
and what have you. So, like for me, when I go through this process, I do feel very, very lightheaded.
yep.
So then it's, and this is the reason why I drink quite a lot of water once I've done it, because, for me, when I'm lightheaded, it's actually my frequency rising,
Mm,
because that heaviness and that density of my body is like not actually there. So I actually feel really light. So it's not a bad thing. It's like just that, I'm more expansive.
exactly.
um,
Yeah.
have you? So, and for the people that are watching that will need to watch this on replay. So Carla's just said, I'll need to do on replay. Both cherubs are awake, in fine hypo form, about to go to bed. So I'd like to give this my full attention. So I'll leave now and come back to this later. And I'll let you know how I go when I've come back on the replay. I'll save it as well so I can do it again and again. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much, Paula and Matthew. This is what I needed to continue my journey at the moment, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Carla. Thank you for being
Good
with
night,
us.
Paula.
And yes, please let us know how you go. Send me, you can just send either me or Matthew like a PM message afterwards as well. So yes, all the best, beautiful, Carla, and yes, come back and do this when the cherubs are at school tomorrow, maybe, as well. So guys, if you can please start to get yourself nice and comfortable. Just getting yourself away from children if you are doing this. Maybe take yourself into another room, so that you're in a nice quiet space. Maybe even dim the light a little bit so that you're nice and comfortable. And Matthew, I will leave it to you.
Okie dokie. All right. So to begin with, if everyone could close their eyes, and just to start with, all I want you to do is focus on your breath. If you can, with each breath in and each breath out, make it 3 to 4 seconds breathing in, 3 to 4 seconds breathing out. But know that you're not just breathing in oxygen with this conscious breath. You're literally breathing in life force. The lungs take in oxygen, the chakra system takes in life force. And you're literally feeding the chakra system with nice, pure life force. With just this breath, nothing else. All right. So now, with a deep breath in, pulling in a big gulp of life force, and with the breath out, if you can move that life force down through your body, your base chakra, legs and feet, and then down into the earth. And just for a few breaths, keep following that same technique. So breathing in life force, with the breath out, then letting it flow down through your body, base chakra, legs and feet, and then down into the earth. Now, how you know that energy is flowing down, you generally will feel something, some sort of movement or flow, but quite often you get a tingling in your feet. It's not that your feet are falling asleep, it's actually energy moving down through. So just keep continuing with that same technique of breathing. Your ability to imagine or visualize is a very powerful tool. It's a way to work with energy or to work energy. Okay, I think we've just about got everyone there. So this is base chakra. So just holding that space that you're at the moment, feeling that base chakra connection with the earth on a surface level. But now next breath, we're going to dive much deeper. So another deep breath in. This time with the breath out, just letting it flow right down to the core of the earth. Don't worry about distance. Energy flows with intention. So it'll go very quickly. And just same thing, just continue that technique. Same thing, breathing in life force, but this time a different intention on where it's going. It's going right down through to the core of the earth, to that deepest chakra that you have in your energy system. And what I find with this chakra is you just know when you're connected to it. Quite often you feel your body relax, and there is even a deeper sense of calm or peace that starts to come over you. And don't forget what you're doing. You're literally breathing in pure, clean life force. And with that, you're accessing all of these different parts of your energy system. Beautiful. Okay, so most people, I think, are there at that earth chakra. So we're going to shift it up to a different gear now. Still holding your space with that deep connection to the earth. But now we're going to go internal. So within us, we have a very expansive energy system just on a different dimensional plane. So imagine, for those that have watched Doctor Who and the TARDIS, there's a completely different space within us. It's like a universe inside of us. Just like the TARDIS is small on the outside, but it's huge on the inside, so is our inner energy system. What I'd like you to do is imagine diving your awareness into that inner universe, going right to the core of that inner universe, and you'll either see, sense, or feel a high vibrational energy source. So don't rush it, just give yourself the time to keep diving. Just stay focused on that intention of diving right to the core of that inner universe. Now, yep, I think most people have that. So as you connect with that inner light, you're connecting with source energy. What I'd like you to do is just allow it to rush out from that central core. Imagine it just opening up inside of you, filling you up with that light, eventually coming up and connecting with the physical body from inside, from within. And it's really good at this point just to acknowledge every cell in your body. Obviously don't have to name them, but just know that that light is touching every cell. So what you're doing, just by this, you're raising the frequency of your physical body. Now start to bring your awareness to expanding that light out to roughly about 5 meters out in all directions, above, below, all around. This is expanding your energy out through many different energy bodies, probably going out to roughly about 15 to 16 energy bodies, which is extending right out through to your galactic energy. So hold it there just for a minute. What we're going to do is use this as a little exercise to clear your space of anyone else's energy from the last few days that you may be still carrying. So what we're going to do is, with that intention in mind, allow that light, that high frequency energy to start to build up, so that what you're doing is intensifying that light within that 5 meter space in all directions around you. It's like you're building the pressure up. It can start to feel a little intense. Great. Now, in a minute, what we're going to do is explode that light out purposely in all directions, limitlessly, no boundaries. But what you're going to be doing is also pushing that energy that belongs to other people back to them, back to the source of where that energy came from. It's not yours to carry. So when you're ready, taking another deep breath in, focusing on that light, and then bang, let it explode out with the breath out. Do it a couple of times if you want. Okay. Now, hold that space. I'll tell you a little bit about where you're at. You're everywhere. Your energy is expanded out throughout the universe. And yet, you're still very grounded to the earth. Every particle of energy that you exist within is running at a higher frequency than it was 10 minutes ago. You can use this technique if you feel pain in your body. You can focus it on that pain. You can use it around any viruses. It literally dissipates the energy of viruses, from my experience. You rarely get sick when you follow through with this exercise. Everything is buzzing at a high frequency. So just because we do need to come back. So what I'm going to get you to do is to, now, you're still expansive, but I'd like you to come back to that base chakra energy by just taking another breath in of life force, and then with the out breath, moving it down through your body, base chakra, legs and feet, and down into the earth again. And just do that a couple of times. And you should start to feel that flow of energy dip back down into the earth more consciously. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Wow, Matthew.
It's always a buzz doing that.
It's always a buzz. I love doing that exercise. And it, sort of, again, it's that beautiful reminder for me to do more of it. Like, it does, as you were saying before, the more you do it, the quicker that it will actually happen as well. So
Exactly.
I
So it should
actually do
be.
this. Yeah. So I do this in the morning in the shower. So I, sort of I do that breath, I connect in, and stuff like that. And I have the routine that I take a deep breath, and then as I open the shower door and step out, that's when I go bang, and I like stretch out that energy as I'm actually getting out of the shower into my day.
Beautiful.
And I really love doing that as as a routine. So again, we'll be adding that back into my routine again tomorrow morning, which I'm very, very excited about. And it does take,
Good.
you can do it, as Matthew was saying, like it literally, you can do it in 3 breaths,
Yep.
and what have you. Like, to begin with, it sort of, it'll take a bit longer.
Yep.
But the more you do it, everybody, the quicker it will actually, happen as well.
Right.
So good. So we're getting everyone. So everyone's responding back. Francine's back. Jacqueline's back. Caleb is back. Joe's back. Talita's back. Natasha's back. Awesome. Who else went on to the journey? Let me just check. All right. So Talita, Holly, Joe, Natasha, Mel. All right. Okay. All right. Is Kylie back? Kylie went on the journey. Kylie, have you come back yet? Is Kylie still traveling? Natasha's back. Melanie's back. Beautiful. All right. Just calling. Kylie, are you back? Holly, are you back? I think everyone else. Yes.
Yeah, they may have had to have gone off to do other things.
They may have had to have gone off. Just letting us know, if you did go on that journey, just make sure that you are responding with "I'm back," so that we know that you are back and not floating out in the ethers. Which sort of, and to be honest, like I have to confess, Matthew, I do love like just floating off into the ethers. It's just so much.
I know you do.
And like it's just so much lighter out there, and I really don't have to think about anything here.
But we have to be careful about escapism.
I know, and sort of, and I remember that was one of the reasons why I came to you a couple of years ago, because like I knew that I was going through so much at that time, as I was saying, with like the psychic attack and with just so much stuff that I just wanted to escape, and I wasn't in my body at all. And it's really funny that, and I just want to sort of say this too, and that is, when we have gone through any trauma, we quite often have completely disconnected to our body, and what have you. So, and as you were talking during this session here tonight, Matthew, I was actually thinking about people that have had sexual trauma, and that wounding to that sacral chakra and feeling safe. And what I have noticed with people that have gone through like that in their lives, including myself, I think that was probably another reason why I had done that whole, I don't want to be connected to earth because I don't want to feel, and stuff like that. So, but the more that I have done the healing on my trauma, the more that I actually want to, I've really done a lot of work in that, that root chakra, and,
Exactly.
and that connection to that as well. So, Jacqueline was just saying she felt at peace. So just wanted to know, like, thank you, Jacqueline. So how did everyone feel with that? What did you notice? What did you feel through that process? Did you feel tingling? Did you feel like a sense of euphoria? Like, what did everyone feel as we went through that? So Jacqueline said she felt peace. Melanie, my head felt weird.
Weird.
Worried. Not sure. And still a little bit. Wow, definitely doing it more and more. Beautiful. Yeah, awesome, Mel.
It's one of those exercises that, depending on how ungrounded you are, it does need to be done. One exercise in doing that isn't going to be. You generally will feel a lot with something
Yes.
like that for the first time, but it
Yeah.
does need to be done repetitively. It should be done. If you just look, I can't say if you're just having a normal day, because if you're dealing with people at all, that can affect your energy. So it's important to remember that you can use that exercise to prepare. If you're going to have a meeting with someone that you don't get along well with, you can come in really strong and grounded by doing that exercise. You can do it quietly to yourself when you're interacting with someone that's a narcissist or is very manipulative. And of course, if you've just had a phone call out of the blue from someone that you don't get along well with, we could be talking about family members here, then do it then, because this will then stabilize your energy back instead of being strung out and frazzled, and this gets you back on track very quickly. So
I also do this when I'm with clients, and I a lot. So, like if I'm working on a client and I feel that, sort of I really need to ground while I'm actually working with that client, then, as I've got my hands on them, I'll actually be doing this exercise. So for practitioners, this is something that's really, really good to do before you have your session. You can do it while you're doing the session and also after as well, to clear that energy as well. So Melanie, weird. Natasha says my whole body tingling and especially my hands. Yeah, my hands and feet are on fire, like Natasha. It's just like, so yes, Jacqueline said feet, legs, and hands were buzzing. Absolutely. Francine, I've already been struggling to stay awake tonight, so I drifted off through most of that. We'll do it again when not tired, but what I was aware of was amazing. Awesome. That's awesome, Francine. Very good to hear.
Great.
So we have come to our 2 hours. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us for this period of time. And, sort of as Matthew and I have shared tonight, there is just so much that we could talk about, Matthew. We could talk about all sorts of topics, which, sort of I think would be really good for you and I to have a talk about, to be able to do on, the Heart Centre Academy of Healing page as well at another time.
Sure.
So I just want to say thank you to Matthew and thank you for everybody that has been with us. But before we go, Matthew, would you like to tell it to our this is what happens at the end of the evening. My words just go and that's when it's like, okay, words, enough.
I think I know what you're asking.
Right. Matthew, I'll hand that over to you because you know what I'm trying to get
at. All right. So this is about any events coming up that I have. So I'm actually running, besides normal everyday stuff like readings and helping people with trauma that they're holding on to that we need to let go of. I'm running a 2-day private vision quest with sweat lodges involved in that. I've got a galactic communication workshop on Sunday, the 15th of October. I'm starting meditation at a venue at Harndorf on the 7th of November for a month every Tuesday. And I've got a drum making workshop on Sunday, the 12th of November. I only have 6 places for that. So actually, I've got only 4 places left. So 2 people have already booked in for it. And look, the other thing is I've got a big trip to New Zealand coming up, not till March next year, but that'll go really quickly. I'll be speaking at a spiritual conference over there for 3 days.
Awesome.
I'll be running a shamanism retreat, and I'll be working from 3 different towns over there too. So I'm going to be over there for about 7 weeks. So
Wow.
it's a big trip. Whoop. And
my dream is to go over there. I sort of, it's on my bucket list of things that I really want to do, is to go to New Zealand as well. So yeah, amazing.
New Zealand's been great to me. So I do a lot of work over there.
Yeah, beautiful. And I know that you went there this year, Matthew.
Yeah, about 7 weeks ago now I came back. But I was working over there for a month solid. And it was intense. It was really big. I didn't have a dull moment anywhere. So,
that's amazing.
Full up. It was a great trip.
Yeah. So how do people get in contact with you, Matthew?
All right. So they can contact me via phone or text on 0410 658 797. Or they can go to my webpage, which is Greenwood Spiritual Journeys, and there's a little box there where they can ask questions, and I'll get back to them with either a phone call or an email, or they can get to me through Messenger, just under Matthew Greenwood. And so any one of those. So I know there's other ways of messaging, but they're the 3 main ones I use.
Perfect.
And personally, I prefer text. So
yeah. I mean, that's how I've always got in contact with you, is just like a text message, or I send you a message through like Messenger or something like that. So, so beautiful. So once again, Matthew, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Paula.
Always love chatting to you about all of these topics, because they're all very, they're topics that are very close to my heart, just as much as what they are yours. And, I think that it's time to really, sort of step into that, sharing that knowledge and being that knowledge, and, being that advocate for all of these things as well. And, again, thank you for being here on our first birthday, officially. 52 weeks of the show. So we will continue as well. Alex will be back with us next week, everybody. Well, I'm hoping he will be back with us next week. So back to Alex and Paula next week. If not, then it will just be me again. You'll have to put up with me for the fifth week running as well. So guys, I just want to once again thank everyone for watching Hands of Love Messages and Healing, whether you've watched through Hands of Love, whether you watched it through the Heart Centre Academy of Healing page, wherever you watched it, thank you so much for being with us. It was an amazing, informative night. My hands are still on fire. So it's going to it's like, woo! My energy is I just feel like this big expansive being right now. It's I feel like I'm like a massive, great big giant, which I always do feel like after I've, done this process. So again, thank you for sharing this process with everybody here, and for everybody watching replay. As well, if you go into this process, please just type that you've gone into the process, and also I'm back, so that we sort of know that you've gone into process and you've come out of process as well, because as you've just experienced, for those that did go through that full process, it is quite expansive. So just making sure that you're grounded. But everyone that has been here tonight, please make sure that you drink lots of water, because as we also know that with just the conversation of Matthew and I tonight, you've all received healing just by being on the show. So please make sure that you're grounded. Please make sure you drink lots of water. And if there's any questions, then get in contact with Matthew and I. Just following up, I've got Reiki 1 coming up on this Monday, which is a public holiday, but I'm still running Reiki 1. So Reiki 1 this Monday, and in November, the 18th and 19th, I'll be teaching my healing modality that I wrote about 5 years ago, the Healing Tree of Life, which is a 4-step healing process to take people on a beautiful healing journey to release emotions through their DNA, past lives and current life, and also ancestry and DNA. So I'm teaching that on the 18th and the 19th of November, which I'm really excited to be sharing and teaching that once again. So guys, from Matthew and myself, thank you once again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Paula.
Each and every one of you, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now, everybody.
Till then, safe journeys. Bye-bye.
Bye.